Welcome back to Beards and Brews. Hey, if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when we have another one brewing. This week's spooktacular flick is going to be Scream. Good old Wes Craven. Fellas, what'd you think of Scream?
Eep! I gotta say, scream if you hate doors, because I started laughing at the ineptness of the killer.
Yeah, it's a little silly and it caught me off guard, but it makes sense in the context of the movie.
No, I get it. Like, there's some really, really, really smart writing hidden in here.
I think I agree and disagree at the same time because it's a movie that like laughs, points and laughs at the genre of horror. It's like, all these things that you've been doing for the past 30 years, that's stupid. I'm going to use them anyway.
No. It's not all the things that you've been doing over the past 30 years. It's all the things that we've been doing, because Wes Craven is absolutely at the forefront of that stuff. And with this, I feel like he was just like, you know what? Let's go another level.
Maybe. I mean, he didn't write it, so he probably read it and was like, huh, that's different. You got me.
Yep. I'm going to get this right out front. I think this movie is like an all-time classic. It's not one of my all-time favorite horror movies or anything like that, but I think this is a classic example of the genre. Or if you want to use the Alex Trebek pronunciation, the genre.
Genre. I absolutely can't see how this tore down the whole horror business in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this changed everything forever.
Absolutely it did.
If by everything you mean watching Drew Barrymore make popcorn with hard nipples, then it sure did.
Well, from what I understand, and I was just I would have been 11 when this came out, so I was aware of it. I remember there being some hype. What I remember is Drew Barrymore being cast as like the lead, or being advertised as the lead. So when she dies, spoiler alert, within the first 5 minutes of the movie, it was like, all right, we're doing something new. We're doing it.
I mean, it's definitely like pulled from Psycho. That's where the idea came from. Maybe I would have had to been more aware of the movie like at the time, because like I don't remember actually seeing this movie until now. Now that I've actually watched it, like I have no memory of this entire movie.
Okay.
I figured that would give me like a chance to just absorb it as is. I think because I've been aware of film in the time after this movie, I can just see where it went. So like seeing like the genesis of that moment where horror is very meta. You know, it didn't have the same impact. And I'm not saying that it's bad because of it. It just didn't give me that zing, I guess.
Yeah, I think a big part, like there is something to be said about just watching a film on its own, just in a vacuum. But I don't think enough can be said about how much this movie really changed the game. Because before this, think about horror movies in the 90s before this. Like, what were the landmark horror movies in the 90s before this? You've got an endless number of Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason, whatever sequels that are all whatever. You've got Candyman, but in the 90s, like, it's pretty rough, to be honest with you. To have a mainstream horror movie come out, Wes Craven horror movie come out, as far as I'm concerned, this completely just changed the game of horror.
It had the Hollywood formula of a slasher film.
Yeah. It's like it's well produced. Everything is well done. This looks like a well-stocked, well-funded movie.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, we got Drew Barrymore in the opening scene, and this is a classic opening scene as far as I'm concerned. You know, she's at home alone, about to watch a movie, making some popcorn, gets a phone call. What's your favorite scary movie? And she thinks it's a prank. Did I scare you there? Did you get a little spooked?
I got a little spooked for the spooktacular.
Yeah. And she thinks it's just like a prank call or whatever. But he ends up getting a little forceful. If you hang out right now, I'll gut you like a fish.
What I liked about it was that like she was totally into it, like, oh, all right, cool, who's this? And then like 5 minutes later, like, didn't she have a boyfriend? Like, who's she talking to?
Yeah, she's all about it. She's like, well, maybe you can come over and like go down on me before Steve gets here. And she's like, well, Steve's already here. Look outside. Oh my God, Steve, you've been fucking sliced open. Your guts are steaming out and shit.
Why are you trying to scare me with Steve with spilled kielbasa all over him? Like, what is this?
That was my mom's roast, Steve.
But yeah, like contrary to all the conventions and stuff, like the killer, like Ghostface. Do they even say Ghostface in the movie?
Yeah, they do. A little bit later, but yeah, they do.
Yeah, Ghostface, you know, like barges in, rocks the place a little bit, and I did enjoy like we mentioned earlier, just how fucking clumsy this
Mhm.
person is, and it's just. I don't know. I enjoy that. Like him's like, oh, I have this idea and I'm gonna execute it, and she's like, I'm just gonna fucking sweep your legs, bitch, later.
Yeah, this guy isn't like he's not like a hardened killer yet. He's just a guy. Or I mean, we don't know who it is. It could be anybody under there, but he's just whoever it is, it's a normal person, right?
Yeah, it's just a dude's. Now,
What?
I
Just
said,
the dudes.
That's what I
dude.
heard.
Yes, get it? It's a dude's because there's two of them.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that was oh fuck spoilers. Like you know who it is. That was the thing like during this movie because like it's a kind of a who done it. So like you have to pick
Mhm.
your favorites. And as soon as I
course.
saw that fucking not Johnny Depp crawl through the windows, I was like, oh, it's him. It's fucking him. Look at him. He's got the eyes of a killer and the body of a killer.
You're talking about Billy there, played by a motherfucker named Skeet.
Oh, that was him. I saw his name in the credits. I was like, who the fuck hired Skeet?
He was fake Gavin Rosdell until I knew that he was Skeet.
Like what? Like you can't just roll up with your fucking 8x11 and on the back it's just Mr. Skeet.
Yeah, it's like one of those guys that like, I don't know, my real name is William, but you can call me Nacho.
Sure. So this killer fucking murders old Drew Barrymore, strings her up in a tree. Her parents are like, "Oh my god!" And guess who's reporting it? A big lime green Cox.
Oh yeah, Courtney Cox. You know, there's so many people that I just forgot was in this movie. Like I remembered Nev Campbell, obviously, and I remembered Drew Barrymore. I remembered David Arquette. Did not remember Courtney Cox or Rose McGowan. Either one was in this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Now, Rose is at school and she's spreading the news because she's heard before anybody else. And this is something I think is really clever. They plant a ton of red herrings. A ton.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It's like the classic whodunit. You got to plant some red herrings here and there.
Yeah.
They plant everyone as a red herring. Everyone is suspicious. But at the same time, you kind of figure it out right off the bat. Like, I know you're saying, oh, there's old boy and he's crawling through. That's all it takes. As soon as you see that guy, you go, that dude's a fucking scumbag.
Yeah,
But-
that's exactly what I said earlier. Like you look at this guy, it's like that is him. 100%.
But he does so much through the whole movie to convince you that it's not him. Like there's so many things like we'll get to it, but he's in jail when she gets that one phone call. So like how is this, it's a
I know
fun
the-
whodunit horror movie.
But there's also some scenes to where all you can do is go, what the fuck? Because they're at high school, but they're on a college campus, and Shaggy's there.
Yeah.
And I don't
And-
mean, like Shaggy. I mean,
Matthew
Zoink.
Lillard. By the way, like these are supposed to be high school kids, and there is no one in this movie under the age of 27.
The fucking late 90s and early 2000s movies that has to do with high school, they always hire the guy who's just about to go bald.
they got Liv Schreiber in there, like balding weary.
It's just
Is he-
whatever, I guess.
Is he in this one at all, or is he just in the second one?
He's in
Was-
a couple flashbacks and on the news.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay,
the yeah, he's the supposed murderer of what's her name's mom. And it flashed so quick. I was watching it with the missus, and I was like, "Was that Liv Schreiber?" And she was like, "Who?"
Now,
Yeah.
they sit down, and this is where the movie hooked me. Having prior knowledge of who the killers are, as soon as they sit down, Matthew Lillard's character starts talking shit to Jamie Kennedy, and they really try to put this vibe on Jamie Kennedy's character, Mr. Son of Mask himself. And they do
Fuck, dude.
they do a fairly good job of making you think, yeah, maybe. But with previous or prior knowledge, and you see the way that Matthew Lillard is excited and he's letting things slip, and then fake Gavin Rosdell, Skeet, is over there correcting him like, hey, shut up, be tactful, don't talk about that. It seems like he's trying to save the women from hearing something obscene, when in fact he's like, hey dude, shut the fuck up. You're going to get us caught.
See, to me, I thought that was just like three high school friends giving each other shit, and to somebody that doesn't have that prior knowledge.
See,
Just
that's
being,
where I
you know.
say that's that little bit of clever writing just hidden in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be better on a rewatch because I didn't hate it. I'm gonna put that out there. I enjoyed
Okay.
it. I don't know. Maybe it's just like me with like late 90s movies. It's like, man, it kind of made me feel like how Go made me feel. Like with people interacting with each other. It's like, this kind of
Mhm.
feels manufactured.
I guess you just had to have been there, high school in the late 90s or maybe junior high in the late 90s. I don't know. I was there.
It was
I don't
that
know.
Hollywood treatment, Eric. It's the
I don't know.
Hollywood treatment.
Maybe, but like this point in the movie, everybody's like, "Wow, who did it?" And Shaggy was like, "Wasn't me."
Oh, fucking done
God
with you.
damn. Now, Sydney gets a call that says, "Hey, your mama was a whore, and I'm gonna stab you." And she's like, "Put up or shut up, bitch. On the porch, let's go." And no one's there, and she's like, "That's what I thought." But then secretly, he's in the house, like, I was in the closet the whole time for some reason.
Yeah, of course it catches her off guard. And, the movie's like, scary thing, but like she's got some fucking moves, man. Like he's like, "I got the drop on her," and she's like, "No, you don't." Kaya!
Yeah, if we
Ball
have
kick. That's my purse. I don't know you.
let her whip out some pocket sand. Cha-cha.
It turns out her real last name is Shackleford. Oh my god.
Rusty Shackleford. Sydney runs upstairs after talking shit about running stairs, but she also did put the chain lock on the door. So I guess, and this is a reoccurring theme throughout the entire movie. Doors. Doors are the literal worst enemy of these fellows in their fucking suit. They're like, aha, I got you. Oh, wait, there's a tiny door. I can do nothing, whether it be a surfboard barricade or a 6-pound dresser or a push lock. That is all it takes for these guys to be like, stop dead in their tracks.
Or just like a closet door that happens to just be open and like blocking the first door from opening.
Yeah.
That's what we have in this first scene.
Well, given how like they clean up their knives just by using their gloves, it probably gets really sticky.
He's like, God damn it. He's trying to stab her, and Billy shows up, our boy Skeet, and he's like, baby, don't worry, like just glycerine. And she's like, yes, whatever. Now
the way he shows up is comical. She's like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm trying to incriminate myself, of course."
Yeah, he as soon as Ghostface goes away, he crawls in through the window, drops his phone, his cell phone, which, in 1996, I don't know about you guys, I did not have a cell phone in 1996. Those came along maybe a few years later.
That shit looked like a fucking cordless phone that you would keep in the kitchen.
Yeah, this was like only a few people had cell phones at my high school, so
it just turns out to be one of those like really small speaking spells for kids. He's like, "Doot doot." It says dog.
Now he drops the phone and she's like, "Oh my god, it was you calling." He's like, "Babe, it wasn't me." And fucking Deputy Doofy shows up. He's like, "Get off
Doofy." Yeah, dude, he fucking had his gun out with his finger on the trigger. Like, what the fuck? He's gonna kill somebody.
Mom said when I'm waving a gun around, you have to treat me like an officer of the law.
I told you not to interrupt me while I'm cleaning my room.
Woo!
Doofy is always going to be Doofy now.
Yeah.
We're kind of skipping over one small thing.
Mm-hmm.
The ghost-faced mask. All right? This is something that is so simple. Literally something that you would have seen at Walmart or a fucking 7-Eleven last-minute costume. And they even say that. But it spawned itself to be one of the biggest costumes for fucking years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's true. It would be kind of funny if like they got the mask in the movie. It's like, that looks like William Shatner.
Nice.
But there's a couple little factoids we're leaving out. One, Sydney's dad is going out of town for, I don't know, the weekend or something. Also, we find out not a little bit later, I think we find out in the scene where they're chatting that Sydney's mom, almost a year ago exactly, was raped and murdered by someone. I don't know. There's somebody in jail for it. That's up in the air. We'll see. It's probably him, right?
Sure. And you know who put him there? Old fucking big green neon Cox herself. And she's there.
No. She was defending him.
Yeah.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
No.
She was adamant that he didn't do it. It was Sydney who was like, yeah, you wanted to have a relationship with my mom and she wouldn't have you, so you killed her. So.
Yeah. Because she was like, "Oh, I saw him go out the door with the bloody coat." And she's like, "No, you saw someone walk out with that coat." She's like, "Oh, no."
It had to be him. My mama wasn't a hoe. Your mom's a hoe. My mama's not a hoe.
According to
That-
everyone in this movie,
That's literally
Sydney's
the back
mom's a
half of the
hoe.
movie.
yeah, according to everyone in this movie that has an opinion, Sydney's mom is a hoe.
Yeah, even whenever Courtney Cox is like, your mom was a hoe, she's like, fuck you, April O'Neil, and Dexter.
Yeah, but I do like the logic of everybody in the town. It's just like, oh, it's kind of like that Richard Gere gerbil thing. You hear it enough, it's bound to be true, right?
Now, she goes to school the next day after almost being fucking murdered.
Yep.
And people are in there cosplaying as the murderer.
High school
Yeah.
kids are dicks, straight up.
Well, fucking Principal Fonzarelli's having none of that shit. Got two
Yes.
fellas in Ghostface outfits, and he's like, fuck you, especially fuck you, get out of my school. Expelled. It's like, you can't fucking do that. He's like, I am Arthur Fonzarelli.
The Fonz goes mild fucking assault and battery on these kids with some giant scissors.
Yeah, he does.
Like, if that happened today, man, those kids, their parents would be writing a very angry Facebook post.
Oh, local principal accused of jumping the shark.
Oh.
4-11.
Now, just so we know, Sydney is there and she is talking to Skeet. And our good boy Skeet, this is how he deals with her PTSD. She's literally like, sweetheart, I know you're horny, but I was almost murdered last night. Please, I just need some sort of security. He's like, get over it, babe. That's it.
Yeah, it's another thing, like you said, like she just survived a traumatic event. She's in school the next day. This fucker just got out of the prison. He's still dirty, and he showed up like, "Hey, babe, a little skim, please."
No, that's just how he is. He's just greasy by default. That's his like style. That's his
Greasy?
aesthetic. Yeah. But yeah, like the first time we meet him, the very first time he comes on screen, he's like, "Hey, you know, we've been together for like 2 years, you know, and I was just wondering, you know, we started out hot and heavy, like an R rating, and we were on for a cool NC-17, and then we slipped back to like PG, and I was just wondering, baby, when am I gonna get it in?"
Yeah, I was cringing pretty hard because he could have
Yeah.
just been honest, like, "Listen, after your mom died, you've been making me feel real unfuckable."
Yeah.
Can you settle for some flashing? I guess.
You know damn well he went to his car and just rubbed one out immediately.
Just told Matthew Lillard about it. Dude, I saw her tits. I'm gonna fuck her next weekend. We can stab her.
Yeah. Not until I get it in, though. Gotta wait, you know. Those are the rules of horror movies, right?
Speaking of getting it in, this chick has to go take a dump, and people are in there like fucking talking mad shit about her and her mom, and she hides in the stall, and the killer is in another stall. Like he's been waiting all fucking day, and I was confused on if that was really the killer or if that was just somebody else being a cosplayer.
Yeah, the movie actually kind of subverts your expectation a couple times over that because it has a really long shot of like the boots coming down, and then like
Mhm.
later in the movie they show like the sheriff boots, and they're very, very similar. So you're kind of like, huh,
Hmm.
who's that? But I can't get over the prospect of like both of those fellas kind of planning this whole thing. It's like, okay, at 10:30, I'm going to be here. Are you sure? Yeah. She always takes the shit right there at 10:30. Like, you know, how would you know?
It's because she has a bran muffin every morning. It keeps her regular. Gosh.
I like the fellas have like a little moment, like, oh, is that your nickname for her? It's like, haha, let's kill her.
Oh God, my little brand muffin.
I like how the girls in the bathroom are just like, she probably made the whole thing up just for attention. She's just an attention-seeking whore, just like her mom. High school kids are bitches.
That is true.
Yeah.
And outside, we get Doofy and Courtney Cox meeting up, and they are just like instantly best friends slash mild lovers.
Mild
Instantly.
Yeah.
lovers. That's
Weren't
how
they
I wanna
married
be
at the time?
described. No, this is actually the movie that got that going, as far as I know. This is the movie that gave her an extra last name.
Ooh, wow, hyphenated. That's class.
Damn.
But-
Now,
It doesn't start out like hot and heavy immediately, because she's like,
I'll-
"Oh, you don't look old enough to be like a full-blown police officer. You don't look a day over 12, you know." But she's
and he got
saying
the
that in
ass
like
of
a
a 10-year-old boy.
Jesus. But she's saying that in like a flirty way, and I don't know how that can be flirty. But she's like, you know, surveys show that I'm most popular with guys in the 14 to 24 age range. How old are you? I'm 25. And she's like, oh, looks like I just missed you. And then there's a little bit more flirting, and he's like, yeah, but I was 24 for a whole year, and gives like a wink or something like that.
Dude, yeah.
Ow!
Like, I was gonna say, like, I really didn't like his acting in this movie whatsoever, but that line was so fucking smooth. I dug it.
I don't think this is a case of David Arquette's acting being poor. I just think Officer Dewey, or whatever his name is, I think he's just supposed to be like lame. I think that's just who he's supposed to be.
I don't know. Like, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but sometimes I kind of felt like he was on the spectrum a little bit through the movie. I was like, how should I feel about this? Like, is he just taking advantage of him because he's a little, young in the mind, for lack of a better term?
No, I can see that. I don't know that I'm completely on board with that, but I can absolutely see where you can get that.
See, my issue with him is David Arquette has played the same character in every single movie he's ever been in, which is just David Arquette.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of get that, because he almost comes off as a person who is acting in a movie and he knows he's in a movie, so he's like, I'm a cop. Look at me.
No, this is David Arquette, who is trying to figure out how to be a cop. This is his first day on the job, but it's still David Arquette as a cop. This isn't Detective Dewey or whatever his name is, Deputy Dewey.
Yeah, this is just him as the lawman from Ready to Rumble.
I was going to say, like, if this whole police thing doesn't work out, he can go straight to wrestling.
I mean, he might just do that. By the way, David Arquette's character, Deputy Dewey, whatever his name is, I guess, the brother of Rose McGowan's character, or stepbrother. I don't know. There's some kind of connection there. They live in the same house. That's something.
Oh, no. What are you doing, Step Dewey?
Ooh, cleaning my room.
Got the vacuum.
Yeah. So, like, after this big hullabaloo where Sydney gets almost murdered, she decides to stay a couple of days over with her friend, played by Rose McGowan. I don't know what her name is. It doesn't matter. And she gets a phone call, actually, from the murderer to that house, and is like, hey, I'm gonna gut you. But that's the same time that old boy is still in jail. How does that happen? What's going on here?
Then it's certainly not Murder Man.
No, it can't be Murder Man. Murder Man's in jail.
Can't be murdering in jail.
No, there are rules against that.
Yeah.
After almost being murdered in school, the Fonz is like, school's out for summer, school's out forever.
Absolutely.
And how did the kids handle this, you might ask? Well, with a murder celebration party.
Obviously, that's what you
absolutely.
have to do.
But poor Arthur Fonzarelli, he's like, hey, school's out. And you know how they repay the man? They kill him.
Honestly, there was a period of time when I first saw this movie, way back in 1996, that I thought, oh, it's definitely Fonz. It's definitely the principal. He did it. That's something. And it turns out, like, half hour into the movie, it was not him.
And this is a really cool transition too, because they're like, oh, it's him, but it's not him, because it immediately cuts to Jamie Kennedy in Mockbuster over by the West Carpenter section, and the Son of Mask himself is like, it's you two, y'all are the killers, and they're like, no, we're not. We'll be right back, and fucking leave Mockbuster while he's standing there like, you coming to the party? He's like, yeah, I know you're gonna kill me, but I'm coming because I'm lonely.
It's either Jamie Kennedy in that role, or if it's late 90s, Seth Green.
Oh,
ooh, yes.
I think Jamie Kennedy does so good in this. Like, I just feel like he is earnest in his enthusiasm for horror movies and horror movie theory. Anybody else get that? Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't acting so much as him actually going, hey guys, you're the trope.
Yeah, like pointing out all of the tropes that are going on. Like, the virgin isn't going to die, but if you have sex, you're definitely going to die. If you do drugs, you're going to die. Don't say, I'll be right back, because you're going to fucking die.
Well, to be fair, I didn't see a single drug in this entire movie. Congrats to the fella in the van eating Cheetos. He's rocking out. All right.
I mean, late 90s, Dare was at its peak.
Oh, shit. So that's why he killed Henry Winkler. It's like, you look like Reagan.
No. All these movies in the late 1900s had that whole Dare bomb.
But I just want to focus on this little Henry Winkler murder scene real quick. What happens is, like, he's in his office, he's the principal, school's out, he's doing whatever in the administrative offices, gets a little knock on the door, and he's like, well, who the fuck was that? Looks out, there's nobody there. Huh. fucking kids.
And I know as a principal, he shouldn't be too shocked to have someone knock on his door, but like after being rattled a couple times, he like pokes his head outside. It's like, wait a minute, did I hire Freddy Krueger as a janitorial employee?
Yeah, not only is it Freddy Krueger, it's Freddy Krueger played by the man himself, Wes fucking Craven.
Yeah, causing another big old nightmare on Dank Street.
Yeah, that doesn't really all right. What I've got today. What I have from Arrow Lodge Brewing is Nightmare on Dank Street. This is an 8.5% alcohol by volume West Coast double IPA. It's got Nelson and Strata hops. There's a lot of good aromas in this, but not just like those strong green dank aromas. You've got a lot of like floral hoppy notes, a lot of citrus notes, but it's not New England style at all. This is pure West Coast. Just, ooh, that smells good. Okay, this tastes like, honestly, just a regular West Coast double IPA. Like, that's exactly what this is. Nothing out of the ordinary, except there's a little something in the finish that tastes like circus peanuts. I don't mind them, but there's a little bit of that flavor in the finish, and I don't know where that comes from at all. This is a pretty good beer. Absolutely. But there's something there. I'm confused by it.
Well, speaking of confusing, why do you gotta go and kill the fawn like that? Damn.
Yeah, because he is just fucking brutalized.
Yeah, they don't show it either because, like, you know, the stabbing is really awful. And like, oh, why'd you have to kill that poor little man? And then, like, later on in the movie, they get like a squawk on the thing. It's like, yeah, the fucking principal has been hung up to dry on the goalpost, and oof, don't come and go see it. That'd be the worst thing to do.
We got to figure out how to get him down off of there, but he's pretty high up. All of our ladders stop at 10 feet.
Couple kids threw a pair of sneakers around him.
Also, he's leaking on the white paint of the sidelines. That's going to have to be repainted. We're going to have to call off Friday's game. Might have to move it to Saturday.
Meanwhile, curfew has been put into effect, removing hundreds of potential witnesses and people who could assist someone being attacked by said Ghostface killer.
Wow, it's all part of his or their plan.
There being the Wu-Tang Clan.
Listen.
Really, though, like, how did Ghostface Killer get his name if he came around before the movie Scream?
He kills ghosts, dude. That's what he does.
I wouldn't know. I've only been informed that Wu-Tang is, in fact, for the children.
But also, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Where are we here? I don't know.
So the turtle van with Channel 5 News slapped on the side sneaks up to the teen murder party, which is completely fucking ridiculous. And at this point, I was like, okay, this is dumb as fuck. And I was playing on my phone for a minute, and I watched John Cena versus The Rock in a rap battle.
Nice.
Okay.
John Cena's got bars.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. Don't doubt it at all. Now, this is another one of those gigantic house parties that I don't think ever actually exists. Have you guys been to a house party like this?
Never.
I don't
think they really exist.
Yeah, it's one of those giant teenage high school house parties with like everybody in the school, but also there's like a group of guys in another room just like watching prom night with Jamie Lee Curtis.
I was actually really confused why have such a big party and have the alcohol like 40 miles away.
Yeah, but at least we've got a beer which to go get it, right?
Sure. Beer run and done.
Never seen from again.
No, like, I'll be right back. Yeah, she goes on a beer run to the garage to get beer from the beer fridge because everybody's got a beer fridge. Shouldn't have done that. She should not have done that.
No, she goes out there and Ghostface is like, I'm gonna cut you so bad, you're gonna wish I didn't cut you so bad. And she's like, nuh-uh, I'm gonna go jump in this doggy door and get smushed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna crawl away, but I guess just through the cat door, because that's a reasonable way to escape.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, you kind of know what's coming, that kind of thing. I had that conversation, was like, you know, why is there a doggy door right in the garage door? And I was just like, so she gets stuck in it. Duh.
Yeah.
Why'd she get so stuck in it, though? Like, fuck.
I don't know. She was wriggling there.
She got the boobs through, and I feel like those were like her biggest obstacle.
I thought that was going to be the thing, right? Because like 5 minutes prior is just like, oh, it's just the bimbo with the large tits. And then like she tries to get away and she can't because of her giant tits.
Isn't that a joke in like one of the Scary Movies? I think it was Scary Movie 1 even.
I think I remember it's like fake Ghostface goes for like a stab, pulls back a breast implant on the knife.
Yes.
Amazing. But yeah, we decide at this party that Dewey needs a date, and Dewey decides he's going to bring Courtney Cox to this party because both of them are high schoolers, right? And they
Chandler.
belong at a high school party. But that does give Courtney Cox just a brief opportunity while she's at the party to plan a little camera because it's the 90s.
As soon as she places it like in the entertainment center or whatever, it's like, huh, that's really illegal.
Not
And
only
really
is it
cool.
really illegal, but it was really fucking big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could any of them not notice it?
Maybe that's just where technology was, because you remember when fucking Homeboy dropped this brick of a phone and he was like, wow, look at that little thing. Better check him out.
The 90s were a hell of a time.
Yeah. So now they got a spy cam, and this is one of the dumbest things to me that happens in this film. Nev Campbell goes upstairs with Skeet, and she's like, my mom's a hoe. I don't want to be like my mom, so let's fuck.
Yeah, I guess Nev Campbell, who, despite us not talking about her really at all, she's the main character of this movie. She and Billy, need a chance to catch up after he was in jail or whatever, so they go upstairs to talk.
Yes. Bang one out.
Yeah, that's where Nev Campbell loses her virginity, and thus ends her life.
The best part about that was just like watching it with the missus and like the aftermath. They got the fellow on the floor putting his shirt back on. He's like, hey, you okay? And she strips is like, yep, she didn't even get close to orgasm.
Nope.
Not only did she not get close to orgasm, but his dick must have not been anywhere near whatever she's been fiddling with.
It had a bend in it, but in the wrong way.
Dude running in with a fucking silly straw in his drawers. God damn it.
That's why he's stabbing people. raping.
Finally Ghostface comes in and she's just like, thank God I get to feel something.
Oh.
Something hard's
And-
gonna finally be inside me.
But, she does she does sort of continue with her doubting of his not being a murderer. She's like, so wait, who'd you call? You got one call, you're arrested, you get a call, who'd you call? I called my dad. No, the sheriff called your dad, I saw him. Yeah, when I called him, I didn't get an answer, so and I don't know, you can just see like some, the meme where all the numbers are going through the lady's head? It's that, except Nev Campbell's up front.
He has like the best excuse, like, babe, how am I the murderer when I'm being stabbed right now?
That is a good
Yes.
excuse. That is good.
Oh, I'm being murdered. And everybody from the party's leaving, and they go jump in their cars and almost run over fucking Doofy and the Cox. And they're like, oh my God, we got out of the way. Oh, it's Sydney's dad's car. Sydney's dad's here. He's the killer. And they have to try to hustle back. All the while, Ghostface is like, stab, 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 stab. I'm going to get you, bitch.
And Jamie Kennedy, by the way, during all of this murdery, he's just sitting there watching fucking prom night, just waiting for Jamie Lee Curtis's tits to come out or something.
I totally get it. Like, I didn't see any drug use in the movie, but in that state of mind, chilling on the couch, just watching a movie while everything goes to shit around you is totally a mood.
Yeah, I get it.
I was laughing because she's slamming the door. She's knocking him down. She's running around upstairs, like 30 feet away. This is like, I can hear a kid walking upstairs during a party. There's no fucking way this guy doesn't hear all this shit going on. And he's just like, I don't give a fuck. Jamie Lee Curtis is about to be topless.
Except she's not. That doesn't happen until 1980. I don't know what the line is, but Trading Places.
By the way, watch that Trading Places cast we did a year or two.
We did do
Go
Trading
watch it.
Places, didn't we? It's a
Yeah.
good one. Yeah. A+ both ways.
Now, there's a fella in the van, and he's like, oh no, things are happening. And
Oh, Kenny.
Yeah, I felt real bad for Danny McBride in that van.
oh. And he steps out and he's like, I'm going to save the day. Oh, I got my throat
Nope.
slit.
Yeah, that look on his face is like, this wasn't in the script. Ugh.
I didn't even get to finish my Doritos.
Cheesy Poofs, no.
Oh,
Oh my God, they killed Kenny.
Now
His name was Kenny. I'm not just bringing that South Park. All right, his name was Kenny.
yeah.
I just felt
And-
bad because the whole movie Courtney Cox is like, "You fat fuck, you're not even quick enough to be my cameraman." And then he's just like, this is my job. I gotta do what I get.
Blech. I know you're fat, but the next time I say hurry, be less fat.
Jiggle.
No chill, because like I don't know how, but like his body wound up on top of the van and she's trying to escape in it. He's like, oh my god, there's a fat fuck in my van.
Let me use the windshield wipers.
She's like, get off my shit. And fucking ends up wrecking into a goddamn tree.
Yeah.
And this is Courtney Cox, by the way. Fucking what's-her-face is still out and about running around, getting told everything after Dewey has been stabbed in the back a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, just a little.
It's kind of silly how that was presented, because like, oh, you see Dewey in the doorway, it's like, okay, finally, like the tides can turn, maybe like him being a cop having a gun, yada yada, and then he just like turns around slightly like a kid that knows he's done something wrong, like, oopsie, and there's just like a big knife in his fucking back.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point in the movie, it becomes less of a whodunit and more of a like, all right, there's a murderer running around, let's run.
We're down to 4 suspects. Who is it? Is it Jamie Kennedy, Shaggy, Skeet, or Jamie Kennedy?
No, we still have Sydney's dad as what officially seems like the prime suspect, since they couldn't get in touch with him at all during his little weekend away, and they've just found his car.
True, but the movie kind of washes that away completely, because like you have Shaggy running up the front of the house, like, oh my god, everything's going crazy. Then Jamie Kennedy's like, no, it's fucking him, dude.
And
They're all
this-
just like Spider-Man fingers.
Yes, but this
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
this is a very, very smart point in the film to me. She's like, "Is it you? Is it you? Fuck you both," and just shuts the door on him.
I did enjoy that moment because, like, they're both distraught. One of them's definitely a killer, and she leaves them outside, and they're both banging on the door. I just love the thought process I had. I was like, eventually that knocking's going to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Billy is in there with her, the boyfriend. Oh, Skeet. And Jamie Kennedy eventually gets in and is like, yeah, my dude Shaggy, he's gone crazy, man. He's gone mad. And then this is the turn of the movie, the big reveal. Billy turns around. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Oh no!
And then just fucking shoots Jamie Kennedy.
Baka, he says.
There's a little bit of internal monologue with me and the missus, because Billy, stumbles out of the room, presumably stabbed, and he falls down the steps. And I still thought it was him. And she's like, see, it wasn't him. He's hurt. I was like, listen, stairs are a challenge right now, but it's totally him.
And, he starts to go through the big reveal, all this blood that's all over him. It's corn syrup. It's the same stuff that they used in Carrie. And, he's going back to all these horror movie references, which have been sprinkled throughout liberally.
Yeah, but at this point, like, he's legitimately just like mansplaining all these
Mhm.
references. It's like laying it on pretty thick. I think he's trying to kill her with it.
And then fucking Shaggy comes in with the voice modifier, and you realize, fuck, it was both of them?
Oh
Fucking
man!
both of them? Oh, you got me.
What a twist. And why'd they do it? Because their mom was a whore homewrecker. It's a scream, they say. They did the thing. You know your dad? He's the fucking scapegoat.
Yep. Motives? This is the millennium. Motives are an afterthought, or there's a line somewhere back there, but it's a fun line.
Yeah, but the thing is, he did have a motive, because that dude's life got wrecked, I guess, and he's just
I
taking it
guess.
out on everybody else.
I guess her mom had an affair with his dad, and that's why his mom left, or something. It doesn't matter. Her mom's a whore. That's where we get. Her mom's a whore. That's what we get.
This, to me, the whole film up to here is whatever.
Mhm.
Matthew Lillard fucking shines in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I love him.
Totally agree. Like the descent of just like, oh man, I'm a murderer, and we got everything figured out, to be like,
My
If-
mom and dad are gonna be so mad.
Yes, absolutely.
if Matthew Lillard never does another thing in his life after this or before this, he can put his acting career resume into just this bit right here, and I'm cool with it.
Billy, you cut me deep, man. I'm feeling a little woozy here.
I'm feeling a little woozy here, man.
Oh yeah, he's like Billy was yelling at him to do stuff. He's like, I don't know, I think I'm dying, man.
He hits him with the goddamn phone. He goes, "You hit me in the head with a phone, you dick."
We're gonna carry on and plan the sequel. Gotta have a sequel.
We're kind of taking the shine away from the actual, like, his lines are phenomenal, but his acting here is so fucking good. He's like, "You're gonna have to stab me." So he puts his hands behind his head and he's flexing up and he's like, fucking do it. And he's spitting blood and he's just so into the scene. He's selling so fucking wonderfully. Matthew Lillard, bro, you did it.
You did it. Yep.
Yeah. I guess that whole cowardly act that comes out, like once he, feels like, oh shit, I fucked up, is brilliant.
And even the lines that he starts spitting out there when he knows it's all done and over with. Why were you doing this? I guess I'm just, really susceptible to peer pressure.
But during all this big hullabaloo, I'm going to use that word again, where they're just stabbing each other to, I don't know, make it look like they weren't the murderers. Because they're going to kill everybody else anyway. They're going to kill everybody else. So they stab each other, make it look like a scene. Well, their gun goes missing. Where'd the gun go?
Courtney Cox has it. Whoops.
That bitch. Come on, Monica.
When everything was wrapping up, I totally had that fucking Friends theme in my head. Like, they're all bloody and just kind of walking out. It's like,
It hasn't been their day, their week, their month, or even their year.
God, it's been a rough year for her, but she gets her revenge by smashing Matthew Lillard's with a fucking TV, and then Gail is like, guess what? Blocka, and fucking bops old boy in the fucking head with a headshot, because she's like, ain't no fucking sequel.
He's like, this is the part where you think he's dead, but he comes back, and he does, and she's like, bugger that! Blows his fucking brains out.
Bugger that!
Bugger that, yes.
Oh. Like, there's a whole lot of little things in there, like when, Sydney's tussling around with Billy over, like, the knife or the gun or something like that, and she just, like, pokes her finger in his, like, little gunshot wound, and he's like, ah! There's tons of little things like that that just bring me joy. They spark joy.
But
also, we do meet Sydney's father briefly, by the way. He's just, like, tied up in a closet somewhere. I don't know where he came from originally, but he's there.
He was hiding in the closet, R. Kelly style.
He was hiding, but, like, tied up and gagged and all of that stuff.
When they brought him out into the kitchen, like, after all this time, I just kept thinking, like, man, he's probably really hungry. Like, where'd they keep this man?
I mean, there were, like, bugles and shit in there. He's probably fine.
Oh, man, imagine, like, you got Billy out there doing all the grunt work, and you're on bugle duty.
You just like, turning them into little claws and making him eat them off your fingertips?
No, he's like, I can eat them, but I can't put them on my fingertips, so it's not the same.
Oh. But yeah, we get like a happy-ish ending. Dad saved, and Gail gets the big scoop. Fuck Kenny, she don't care. Some new, cameraman's
immediately replaced.
She gets her story. Everybody lives happily ever after, aside from like the 30 people that have died during this last 2 days.
Mulligan at this point. Mulligan. After talking about it, I think I'm more fond of the movie than I actually was after the fact. The first time around, I think is my first time ever. I don't really have any memory of the middle part of this movie. I just kept thinking just how full of itself it was. It was like, oh, I'm just subverting your expectations. Oh, I'm going to subvert it again. See what happens. I'm just like, yeah, it's the fucking creepy guy. Like, there's no way around it. But like, us talking about the ending again, that ending was so fucking solid. Like, fuck what I think of the rest of that movie. That ending is so good.
I'm going to jump right on board. I don't really care for a lot of the rest of the movie. There are parts that are like, yay. But man, when you get to the end and Matthew Lillard is putting in that fucking performance, and I know people are going to be like, well, whatever. I really think that is some of the best acting I've seen on screen. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And it's what sells, the mentality of these killers, the vibe of this scene. It's fucking amazing. I mean, Matthew Lillard did it here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just going to put it out there. I think this is the first classic modern horror movie. Like, you've got everything that came before it. You know, you've got all kinds of greats back in the 80s. And then this just resets the genre. 1996 comes along. It's everything that came before Scream and everything that came after Scream because of how meta it was. It referenced itself so many times that it just had to be the reset button for the genre. I don't think this is one of the all-time great horror movies, but as far as the canon, the chronology of the horror genre goes, you can't talk about horror without talking about 1996's Scream. And for that, it's something.
Well, there you have it. That's Scream. Do you have any strong feelings about the show or the movie? Leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons too. Hit the little bell icon so you don't miss what we got brewing up next.
Get out there and follow us on all of our different social medias. We get that Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, of course. And thanks to the Anchor app, we have Apple Podcasts and Spotify. There's no reason you guys aren't listening or checking out the content that our awesome administrator is constantly pumping out. So, you know, if you don't get out there and at least give us just a little taste of what we're doing, we're going to have to bust one of these fluorescent light bulbs David Arquette uses in his indie wrestling matches and cut you up like a fish.
Roadhouse.